Here in men is he's a businessman and I'm a fucking Spartan.
What's up, fight fans? This is Counterpunch with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Oleksandr Usyk, Alex Usyk, Tyson Fury. Get this. According to the promoter of Oleksandr Usyk, Oleksandr Usyk, tells me that as long as he's representing Usyk, he won't budge from a 50-50 split from the Fury fight. Says it's more than fair. Usyk flies to London tomorrow to hammer out a deal with George Warren. Says that he's really optimistic. Let me counterpunch. If Usyk goes to the UK, to London, right? If he goes to London and this fight's not done, that fight ain't happening, people. It's not going to happen because the Saudi Arabia deal, Oleksandr Usyk already agreed upon. Now, you have to keep in mind, once you agree to something that another fighter doesn't, you start to get agitated. You start to understand what other people had to go through with a particular fighter. Tyson Fury did not accept it. First, he said that he didn't even get a deal. Okay? Now, all of a sudden, the reason why they can't have it in Saudi Arabia is for some stadium build that hasn't been ready yet. Which I honestly don't believe that, because that was never a deal in the first place. That was never an issue at hand. So if it wasn't an issue at hand then, why is it one now? Counterpunch. Like, if that was one of the things that's something that no one can do anything about. The whole ordeal was about the amount of money that both guys would be getting, because that would be more like the DAZN deal that Deontay Wilder was offered with his structured deal, and then the deal that Anthony Joshua would be offered with his structured deal. You know, it wasn't a split anything. Just one person was going to get a certain salary for fighting, and another person was going to get another salary for fighting. That's all it really was. But now all of a sudden, oh, well, it's the Saudi Arabia stadium that has to be built, because they're building one specifically for Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, let's just be real. Like, look, like, all those, though, look, shit, they could have fought in the place that Usyk beat Joshua the last, if it was just talking about a stadium, you know. But come on, bro, that's just, it doesn't even make any sense what they're talking about. But I can tell you this. I think because it is in Wembley, I think because Tyson Fury wanted some concessions, I think 50-50 should be the fight. He has the 3 belts. He's beat Anthony Joshua, the cash cow, twice. He's made a lump sum of money doing so. He's increased his fan base to the utmost. And at what point does Tyson Fury what point does he get that particular concession to get more than 50%? Why would he want more than 50%? And if he wants more than 50% and then Usyk's not budging for the 50-50 split, what will happen is you can clearly say that Tyson Fury is clearly full of shit. Why? Because he can't say, well, I'm a Spartan, I just want to fight, or I can fight him for free and all this. Now, I can understand a lot of people are going to say, well, wait a minute, Kurt, Oleksandr Usyk said that shit. He said, I'll fight you for free. He was making a point. Well, you want to talk about fighting for money and purses and all this shit. I'll fight you for free since that's all you talk about. Now, hopefully, me personally, I don't really care. I don't really care if it's a 60-40 or whatever. But if it is a 60-40 deal and Usyk agrees to it, that's showing the utmost confidence. That's showing that Terrence Crawford confidence when he took that 35% to fight Errol Spence and the shit still didn't happen because there was no guarantee. And by the way, there's no guarantee with this fight in Wembley. If it is in Wembley, there's no guarantee at all. At all. The guarantee of the fight purse they were going to get in Saudi Arabia was going to be more lucrative. Maybe, maybe not. But the only thing they have to focus on is the pay-per-views, because the overall setting at Wembley, yeah, it does numbers, but those type of seats that they're offering are not going to compare to something over here in the States. Okay, so they're not going to get that money back from the stadium, okay, from the gate. The gate is not going to work that way. And it baffles me why Tyson Fury didn't want to have it in Saudi Arabia, because I don't believe the stadium thing, but I think he just wanted a hometown advantage. And I'm thinking like, okay, if you wanted a hometown advantage, for what purpose? You know, maybe he knows that maybe the fight is going to be tougher than he thinks it's going to be. And maybe if he's in, you know, in the UK, it might end a little different. Right? And I don't think Oleksandr Usyk's scared, but at some point you have to draw the line in the sand, because, you know, Tyson Fury could have easily made this fight, and that fight could have been announced if he would have agreed upon the money. You know? So I'm looking here, according to Bob Arum. Bob Arum on Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk. If the fight ends up in Saudi, each fighter will make his deal with the Saudis. Usyk's people tell me that they have a deal that they're satisfied with, and now the Saudis are truly interested. They'll make a deal for Tyson. See, okay, as you guys seen me read this, where does it say, but we have to make the stadium first? But we still have the stadium issue. Or if the stadium is built by the time we offer Tyson Fury, or we are ensure, or we can guarantee that the stadium is built, then this fight could happen. We ain't heard shit about no stadium issues at all. That's why I don't believe it. They just made that shit up because they want it to be in Wembley, because they want to call the shots, because maybe they already know, like I've told you guys, that Oleksandr Usyk will not take anything less than 50-50 split. And they already know that. I've already told you guys that because it's already been reported. We got receipts on this shit. And if they know that Oleksandr Usyk's not going to take anything from 50-50, oh, really? We're moving on. We're moving on. Really? Okay. You know, so Tyson can see it's not my fault. He didn't, the Dulcich wouldn't take 60-40. Anthony Joshua was going to take 60-40. And this Dulcich, Ukrainian Dulcich that doesn't even speak any English, won't take 60-40. That type of shit. You know what I mean? So, like, this is what we're dealing with. But Alexander Usyk said he won't budge. So if they're not trying to budge from their position, and Tyson Fury's want to piss and moan over 50-50, even though it's going to be in Wembley, even though that he was offered a certain amount of money, which would more than likely be more money than the Wembley fight, because if the pay-per-views don't do any well, I think they'll do really well. But if the pay-per-views don't do that, you know, what idiot would try to take a pay-per-view decision over a guarantee, especially if a fight that he's so sure that he's going to win? See, he's real busy taking these fights with Derek Chisora and all this bullshit. But in the end game, you want to make all the money that you can, because maybe you're not sure that you will be that man. Bars. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Oleksandr Usyk's promoter stating that they won't budge from the 50-50 position. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!